Okay, so welcome to this Toojays interview dealing with the current issues of COVID and how small businesses are coping with that. Today I'm joined with two Toojays associates, Rachel and Peter, who I'll let do some introductions in a moment of themselves. But just thought to spend some time just exploring how they're currently dealing with the COVID experience and what advice and tips they've got for fellow SMEs. So Rachel, Peter, welcome to this inaugural Toojays interview. Would you like to do a bit of an introduction in terms of yourselves and your background? Rachel, maybe first.
Okay, hi, thanks Lee for having us on. Yes, my name is Rachel 𝐂𝐸𝐳. I am a business and leadership coach. I have been in this industry for 7 years now, and I teach and train people from small teams to one-to-one executives. And I also wrote a toolset, an original toolset on behavioural change, which I teach and I use as a book, or I can use it as an online webinar class. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Thank you, Rachel. Peter.
Nice to meet you, Rachel. Lee, thank you for inviting me along today. My name's Pete Rushmer. I founded Flagship Training about 2 years ago now, and we train all manner of different teams and different people, myself and my team. We do first aid training, mental health in the workplace, as well as specifically around the transport sector too. I do quite a bit of consultation to the transport sector, and we also do obviously our suite of classroom training, and then we also have a full range of nearly 100 online courses as well, which is quite a recent addition for us.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Like I say, great to have you on board, and really wanted to tap into your experiences of what you're doing as a SME yourself. And specifically, I had a question in terms of how are you as SMEs adapting to the current challenges that we're facing? Obviously, we hear the word unprecedented being used quite a lot at the moment in the media, and it is very unique times. But yeah, just how are you guys dealing with it or finding it from an SME point of view?
Okay, so I can kick that off. It's tough. It's been really tough, certainly for us. Classroom training was wiped out just over a month ago, and that's sort of 60% of our overall income, and it's meant the requirement to really adapt. I carried out a sort of financial review to ensure that we'd be able to have positive cash flow from a business point of view, and we're fortunate that we've got quite a diverse range of different income streams into the business, and it's meant that I'm able to sort of review and reallocate my time accordingly to ensure that we're able to survive initially. What about yourself, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm not so fortunate to have multiple income streams. So mainly my coaching revenue was coming from one-to-one and associate work, and those have pretty much all dried up. So yeah, but I am investing my time in lots of other interesting opportunities.
So very similar to ourselves, particularly with yourself, Peter, in terms of our sales pipeline being wiped out as well, and having to rethink basically. And I guess it's that adaptability. And so, like Rachel, you're doing that as well. How you adapt and stuff, and how you deal with things is the way forward. I guess linked into that, because we are both associated with development and training in our respective businesses. Do you feel that learning development, coaching, training has a place of importance at the moment with organisations in the current climate?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think it represents actually quite a good opportunity for teams of people that firstly with their provider, with providers facing challenges, that's a really good time to actually look at negotiating a great deal for them. We've got, where possible, we've been able to reduce our overheads with payment holidays, etc., etc. So on the one hand, for the client, it provides a fantastic opportunity. But on the other hand, I think for their team members, we don't really know what COVID-19 is going to look like at the other end. But it's certainly going to mean restructuring of teams, reallocation of skill sets. There's going to be a lot of time for people to review and decide if they're on the right track. And it presents a great opportunity for people to retrain, etc., etc. We've taken a bit of time to look at different payment plans that we're able to offer if an individual wanted to come to us and actually retrain themselves. And also the solutions and the bundles that we can offer to companies that are able to retrain and sort of reskill or upskill their team as well if they need to make redundancies, etc.
Yeah, I would also agree with that. I think it's a fantastic time for not only people to look at their mental fitness, which is key at this time. It's a way of reframing what's going on as an opportunity to invest in ourselves, invest in our company. There's an article I read today on Harvard Business Review about how you can do micro-learning with your teams. And obviously people are learning video and how to use video and how to create the boundaries around video as well, so that you create a whole new workplace dynamic with your teams and with yourself and with your families and being at home. But I think all in all, there's a huge opportunity to behavioural reframe, which is kind of what I was doing a couple of years ago when I was working with teams in Eastern Europe, and I hadn't even met them, and we did everything across. I love webinar, and as Lee knows, I love new technology, and I think that's partly why he's asked us on here, because of our ways that you and I, Pete, can reframe stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think lots of companies out there are doing it anyway, and it depends on who your key leadership teams are and how they're leading this, and how they're leading, you know, the work dynamic. But obviously it's a case of, if you've got the key people, you can encourage micro learning anywhere, and this has always been my bugbear. It just depends on who's leading it in the company, and can we as coaches get that working relationship to lead that type of training. So this is a perfect opportunity for people to actually start taking responsibility at home for their learning, and we can help that as coaches. But it's getting that message out for us to connect with those type of people who want to relearn and reframe. So that's my little, because there's a question coming up that Lee's going to ask us, what's not working? That's the thing that's not working for me, is being able to connect with those type of people.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. It's that awareness. Well, how you find that awareness? Because I was talking to our accountant, Polly, who I think you know as well, Peter. And under the furlough scheme, I'm not sure how many organisations are actually aware that training and development of staff can still continue for furloughed staff without impacting on the furlough payments from HMRC. And I'm just curious, in terms of your engagement with clients and customers, are you finding that there's still an appetite for them to do training and developing staff, or are they fearful of not adhering to the furlough kind of requirements?
Yeah, absolutely. So last month we saw a massive impact in our online training sales, which was fantastic. But also, as soon as that was announced that furlough staff were able to train, we've got a bit of a challenge in from a business point of view, that people were initially panicking and they didn't really know what things would look like, what their teams were going to look like, what furlough looked like. However, as time sort of progressed, I've seen business owners become a bit more relaxed. The furlough system's up and running, the grant system's up and running, CBILS, which looks to be a bit of a mess at the moment, but again, it's on its way, and there's a bit more of a level of acceptance of the situation, and that's fantastic, because once that acceptance has come in and there's a review taking place, and actually, yes, we can train furlough staff, we can put them on online courses, we can put them on webinars. That then presents a great opportunity I've personally felt it myself as a consultant to some of the transport businesses I support. If you feel really isolated, you're at home, and actually as an individual I feel isolated. I'm fortunate that I've got a strong network around me, and we get opportunities like this to talk face to face, but your average employee doesn't get that same level of connectivity. They might do within their family, but have they got that opportunity in a business point of view? And isn't furlough a great opportunity for them to carry out their CPD, potential mandatory training, or something to do?
Yeah, good point. How about you, Rachel? How are you finding it as well?
Yeah, no, I think I kind of said in that last section just that it's connecting to those people who are able to turn this into opportunities. And I'm seeing a lot of, of some of the people I've read and spoken to, and there's a lot of training that's going internal. So whereas they might have previously been using external, they're just looking to resource and how they can be resourceful as a team and learn as a team. But yeah, no, there's some opportunities there. There's an organisation who I was looking, I had some scheduled courses for face-to-face, and now we're looking how to turn that to online. So yeah, there's definitely things coming through, but I think it's probably shook people, so they're having to re-strategize and you know, replan how they do this.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think as you alluded to earlier on, one of the next questions I was going to ask you was what's going well and what's not going so well. I think linked into that, I don't know about you guys, but I've seen an increasing number of emails hitting my inbox about systems or platforms enabling me to take our content onto online and e-learning. And I just wonder if there's a danger there that there's a certain knee-jerk reaction for a lot of providers just to get content online, and maybe the quality may suffer, or maybe clients aren't ready for that yet in terms of their own infrastructure and their systems being able to accommodate that internally. So, so yeah, what are you finding is working at the moment for you, and what's not?
Yeah, I mean, I about you saying about content, I mean, like the amount of emails I get about, you know, new webinar packages, or how can you do great online training, and it's like, I've been doing that for years. I don't need the practice. But for some coaches and leadership trainers, they're used to just doing classroom, which there's been a huge reliance on that, which is like the likes of us have seen the opportunity in the gap a couple of years ago, and why we've probably, you know, diversified into online. But what else was I going to say? There was another point. Oh yeah, so the other thing I was going to say is something that I'm seeing, I don't know whether it's an opportunity, like you say, or whether it's actually going to start muddying the waters, is lots of people online are then offering, is it a free Friday or something? So they're saying all their services are free, which is a great idea, but everyone's doing it. So everyone jumps on the bandwagon, everyone jumps on webinar, and it's like been done before, you know. So I think you have the potential to muddy the waters rather than focus on what is good learning. I totally go with online webinar. I don't think you need to meet people and do a classroom. But yeah, you're in danger of getting lost in all the new themes coming through because of COVID, as opposed to concentrating on what is the problem you're trying to solve, which is what we're there for. Where's the gap, and what do you need us for? And then we'll look at ways of how we do that. So yeah,
I totally echo that. I think strategy and a plan is absolutely key. So I think people have got time on their hands, and just because giving someone an online platform is like giving them a microphone, but it doesn't mean that they can sing. It just means they can make a lot of noise. Yep. And at the moment, there's a huge amount of noise out there, and essentially that's not positive, and it can be a bit of a challenge. Especially, I personally find quite frustrating the free element as well, because nothing is ever really free. You know, just because you can't see the strings, it doesn't mean that they're not attached. And I think I certainly aim to have a fully transparent offer in everything that I do. So, you know, our services are charged for. You will get an element of support from me for free, and I will help guide people in making a great decision. And I'm more than happy to have, you know, discussions like this, etc., and be able to collaborate with people. However, from an offer point of view, from my business offering, I'll look at payment plans, I'll look at 0% interest, I'll look at everything I can to try and drive that right solution for a client. But ultimately, it's about making sure that it's the right thing for them. And there's a real challenge with so much noise, so much free stuff about. Well, you know, you get what you pay for, and sometimes free advice isn't always the best advice either. So that's sort of my input on that, really.
Yeah, it's very true. And I guess in terms of everyone's running a business, there's a need to be profitable, and how you view marketing, and whether you offer certain things as a lead into other products. But I certainly agree in terms of the quality coming through from some of those free offerings, it's quite debatable. Okay, guys, probably final question for you. We're obviously, as I mentioned before, coming from a learning development and coaching background with our SMEs and our companies. But generically speaking, if you were to take your experiences, what advice would you give to any small business in the current circumstances?
I would say, well, personally, with all of us being at home, is try to come up with a structure as quickly as possible, a daily, weekly, monthly structure, and just use this time wisely to, you know, regroup, analyze your current thinking, your current ways of doing things, the people that you're dealing with, you know, and yeah, it's a great opportunity, but definitely getting structure into the day is key. So yeah, I'd say structure and re-strategize.
Yeah, absolutely. I think self-talk's massively important at the moment, and sort of taking care of yourself. You know, Lee and I have had quite a bit of banter to and fro on our different fitness regimes that we've been taking on in the downtime as well. But it is massively important: healthy body, healthy mind. Make sure that we have got, like Rachel quite rightly says, a routine that involves self-care, exercise, involves working, involves setting targets and getting results. I had a bit of a conversation with someone the other day, actually, that they feel like they're working even harder now and the wheels are turning even harder. And there's this tendency to burn ourselves out because we're not seeing results. And that's one of the challenges we're facing at the minute. And actually, if we make a plan and each day set, even if it's a small goal and get a small result, we'll get that positive feedback to be able to take to the next day and not get ourselves too downtrodden and overrun. So, you know, we can all be busy fools. It's quite easy to do that, but absolutely, like Rachel said, get a strategy, what's going to work for you, what isn't going to work. You know, how can you inform people of what you're doing in a coherent way that shows the level of quality of the service that you do offer, without going for the big everything free and giving everything away and throwing the bathwater out with the baby, or baby out with the bathwater even. Yeah. There we go. But, you know, I think I saw something really, really great. I saw something really great yesterday around that we're all in the same boat. And actually, if we just reframe that slightly, we're not in the same boat. We're in the same storm, and it's a storm around us. We've got our own boats that we need to build or reinforce the best that we can. And actually, that's the strategy and that's the plan. And we're the captains of the boat, and we need to be in a fit way to be able to deal with that.
I think that's a great analogy. Yeah, very good.
Another thing is be very, very careful what you're listening to. I don't know who out there is listening to news and stuff. Don't listen to the news. I mean, I'll listen to the 5 o'clock kind of, you know, update, but the tendency is to have the news on all the time because everyone's quite scared and fearful. And this is what we've got to realize is it affects people differently. Like some people believe a lot of the hype and believe a lot of what we're being told. So just be very careful of what you're listening to. Feed your mind with some good stuff. And give it as an opportunity to learn something new. So either to go and find out some new experts you want to read their books on, or learn a new skill or a new hobby, get that brain moving rather than just listening to the same old. So really, you know, hold on to it as a really excellent opportunity to regroup. So,
yeah, I think there's some great advice there from both of you. And I think one thing's for sure that as and when this finishes or kind of comes to its natural conclusion, which hopefully won't be too much longer, the world won't be the same place. I think there's a lot of changes in the working environment, people's attitudes, certainly to online learning and the businesses that we're in, but not just to our profession. I think to all professions, there's going to be a massive impact. So some of the things that you've talked about there and you've alluded to, I think are very pertinent now, but have longevity as well. They'll live on in terms of how people approach their working mindset, their positivity, their working from home, and how they engage and how they learn. So for now, thank you very much for your input, guys. That's been very, very useful, very informative, and hopefully given us an opportunity to share some of that knowledge with everyone else. And who knows, this may be the start of some further sessions giving more information to other people in similar situations. But Rachel, Pete, thank you very much for your time. Stay safe, stay at home, and best of luck in continuing your businesses as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Lee.
Thank you, Lee. Take care. Take care, Rachel.
Bye.